essentially the carrots and the sticks that have been shown to Iran have had the aim of making the advantages of not pursuing the program appear greater than the disadvantages. And although Iran has consistently denied the allegation that it has an intention to develop nuclear weapons, and although, in my view, the evidence invoked in support of the allegation is hardly conclusive, one cannot exclude that such an intention exists, at least in the minds of some of Iran's ruling circles. In any case, even if the intention did not exist, we know that intentions could change at some time in the future. If such an intention existed, or there existed at least an interest to move closer to the option of making nuclear weapons, how unshakable would it be? It is hard to see that Iran's present security situation should be felt as compelling it to look for nuclear weapons, and Iran, of course, denies that it has such an intention and feels so compelled. During the long and terrible Iran-Iraq war in the 1980s, Iran, like Israel, could have suspected that Iraq was developing nuclear weapons and could have seen a need to move in the same direction as Iraq. If so, it must have moved rather slowly, because Iraq was close to a nuclear weapon in 1991, and Iran is still fairly far from such a weapon. In any case, today, Iraq cannot be perceived by Iran as a threat, nor can Israel very well be perceived as a threat against an Iranian state without nuclear weapons. At the present time, Iran might feel its security threatened by the US. Iran has not had diplomatic relations with the US since the occupation of the embassy at the end of the 90s. And a variety of sanctions are imposed on Iran by the US, beyond those that are established by the Security Council. And US aircraft carriers are present in the Persian Gulf with ready cruise missiles, so perceiving a threat from the US would be understandable. It is puzzling to me that, judging by what has been made public so far, no offer seems to have been made to include in the nuclear deal with Iran guarantees against attack from the outside and attempts at regime change. This is a well-publicized part of the deal attempted with North Korea, both to refrain from attack from the outside and change the regime inside. Similarly, while as a part of the nuclear deal, North Korea is offered diplomatic relations with both the United States and Japan, a re-entry into peace relations generally, no such offer appears to have been made by the US to Iran. Most of the other states have, of course the European states have diplomatic relations with Iran, so it's only the US that would offer it. Now let me put some words on the question of assurance of supply of nuclear fuel. Any state that embarks upon the nuclear power program must feel that it can have nuclear fuel that it will need. It may appear axiomatic that the best assured supply of uranium fuel would be that which the country obtains from its own soil and manages itself on its own territory. For Iran, such self-sufficiency in fuel is still some time off, as the program of enrichment is not yet ready and mature. And meanwhile, Iran is dependent upon import from Russia. For a large and long-term nuclear program, Iran appears also not to be self-sufficient, as Iran is reported to have relatively little uranium in its territory and will have to depend upon the import of uranium allocated from the outside world. A settlement of the current controversy that did not foresee an enrichment program in Iran would have to provide for a credible assurance of supply of uranium fuel from the outside. And the Iranian government declined the Russian offer to arrange enrichment in Iran for Iran in Russia. Naturally, just as a multilaterally owned and managed enrichment facility located in Iran could, as Lewis and Pickering and Walsh recognized, be nationalized, a facility for Iran in some other country could be sequestered by the host country, for instance by Russia. This is true also for Russia, even though Russia has recently lived up to its commitment to deliver uranium fuel from the Bushehr nuclear power plants and has refrained from using deliveries as a leverage in the negotiations. If security assurances of supply from Russia or some other state is deemed unsatisfactory, one might ask whether some multilateral guarantee from the Security Council could be helpful. The Council could not, of course, guarantee deliveries, but in the settlement it could give the guarantee that it would not use its powers to raise obstacles like sanctions to the export of enriched uranium to Iran, so long as the country abides by a commitment undertaken not to run or to prepare an enrichment program of its own. A diversified market, unimpeded by any sanctions, is perhaps as far as one can get in terms of guarantees. I have noted that in the sensitive region of Korea, the two states concluded that neither should have enrichment or reprocessing. For the sensitive region of the Middle East, a zone comprising of all the states in the region and excluding weapons of mass destruction has been contemplated, but is going nowhere. In view of the tension that would be raised by any program of enrichment in the region, we must ask ourselves whether the states in the region could not agree on a zone, a verified zone, free from all enrichment and reprocessing, which falls but short of a zone free of weapons of mass destruction, a fuel cycle-free zone. The question is the more justified as more and more states in the region are beginning to plan for nuclear power. A fuel cycle-free zone that might be seen as a first step towards a zone free of weapons of mass destruction would obviously oblige Israel not to produce any enriched uranium or plutonium. It would not, on the other hand, affect existing supplies in Israel, whether in stocks or in weapons. Such obligation would come only with the establishment of the zone free of weapons of mass destruction. This idea of a fuel cycle-free zone, freely accepted and admitted by the countries in the region, was first broached in a report on the International Commission, which I chaired, Weapons of Terror, Freeing the World of Nuclear, Biological and Chemical Weapons. If countries in the sensitive Middle East, like those in the sensitive Korean Peninsula, were to abstain from having any facilities for enrichment and reprocessing, the states needing enriched fuel for power reactors would need assurance of supply, all of them, Iran and the others, supply from the outside. And as I suggested a moment ago for Iran, they could possibly obtain guarantees that the Security Council would not raise any obstacles, any sanction to the purchases in the world market, so long as the states and parties acted on their commitment to remain nuclear-free of fuel cycle. Lastly, Mr. Chairman, let me say about enrichment in Iran, which is discussed in the article by the speaker and Watch. I agree with them that the worst outcome of the controversy about Iran's nuclear program would be an enrichment program in Iran simply submitted to the old type of IAEA Safe Plus 153 type. Unlike regions where tensions are low, the Middle East region requires more caution. Adherence by Iran to the additional protocol of the IAEA would be one such step, and the proposal advanced by the Pickering and Walsh, if it were acted upon, would add considerable transparency and international ties. Therein may also lie some technological benefits for Iran. My only amendment to that proposal would be that in addition to countries like France and Germany being participants and co-owners, also prospective nuclear power countries in the Middle East should be invited. They may wish to buy some of the enriched uranium in the future, and for confidence, they may want also to be in the midst of that transparency.